Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Stern coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And I don't know, I wasn't happy with my orientation, so I kept having to play with it. So I apologize for that shakiness. I am bringing the stream up on my tablet so I can see the chat easier. What I have is a generous gift from Dave at Burger Butt and Burger Butt. This is a menu that I have always wanted to try since I heard about it. I have never had this dish before, not in any form or in any place, so I am very interested in trying military's take on Ratatouille. It is a vegetarian dish. I did look it up online earlier. This is from 2015. I'm going to try to give you a close-up of the pack date. I don't know if you'll be able to see the date code on there, but the first digit is a 5. It was packed on 287th day of 2015. This menu got replaced several years ago, so it has been out of the lineup for a while. Let's see if this peelable seal works. I have to hold it in between my knees in order to get it going. Sometimes these buggers can be a challenge to open. Now, last Sunday I was not live because I was still on my way home from the White Eagle Multicultural Powwow, where I do the kids' crafts every year. Plus, I had to get all my stuff up here, and my driver helped, so that was a great help because I was wiped. But I had so much fun doing that. I think this may be one of those bags that's just going to get the better of me. I think these bags used to be a little bit thicker at one time. I know the first generation tan bags were a lot thicker. They were as thick as the MCW bags. While I'm doing that, let's see who's here. The Carlos Perry, Prepper for the Ages, Spicy Tuna Rolls. Thanks for dropping in. I have to turn to my right in order to look at my tablet screen because that's the way I have it positioned. My thumb just keeps slipping down, so I'm just going to cut it open from the back because this seal is just not doing it for me. There we go. This is packed by Sapaco. before they started doing the double pack. So right off the top, got bent crackers. So they'll probably fall apart. Got the FRH, which I will not be using. Got the accessory pack, which has Genial coffee, not Bill's Brew. This is before they started using Bill's Brew. Got the beverage bag. There's a good old standby spoon. Got peanut butter for the crackers. Strawberry banana dairy shake powder. So I might have to get another glass. Got hot sauce in the white packet. This card, this sleeve has nutritional information for the Ratatouille and the ingredients. Nutmeg raisin mix in a package that I have not seen for a long time. And this is 2015. Got 2 retort pouches in here. Mixed fruit. And this was packed by MRE. And then the last thing out of the ration bag is the meat itself, the Ratatouille. I'm going to put aside all the things I'm not going to use, like the FRH, the beverage bag, and the spoon. And inside the accessory pack, like I said, we have Genial coffee. That's going into the delicious mug. Got the old style salt, which they need to bring back. This is the non-dairy creamer. And there's the sugar. And the rest of the items in here. MRE bag will serve as my trash bag. So I've got cinnamon gum. That's the red wrapper, indicates cinnamon. Got the moist towelette. Got your standard lighthouse rear roll, and the matches, which are not shiny. This is more of a matte finish with a pink tip. Again, I have no idea what the tip color means as far as the matches go. No other drink but the dairy shake powder. The powder was all the way up to the top. And this one happened to be sealed at the top, which is good. Now I'm going to mix it in the bag, but the powder is white. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but the powder is white. I'm going to go ahead and pour some water into the bag. I intentionally like to shorten the amount of water for the first shake. But it's definitely pink. Bottle aside. Now I'm going to leave it in the bag and not pour it yet, because I'm hoping that maybe it will actually dissolve. Let's check out that Genio coffee. Looks good. Spray dried, probably medium dark roast. And dump it in the sugar. I know that's going to be good. Tim Riley is here, my Iowa brother. It's time to get a look at that creamer. It looks fine. Go ahead and dump that in. Now that I've got all those in there, I'm going to go ahead and take the main into the kitchen and put it in my pot, and I'll bring back the kettle for the coffee, and I'll be right back. I am back. I just took the kettle back into the kitchen just to get it out of my way. And it looks like this creamer dissolved very well before I even got a chance to stir it, which is nice. Joe Sook is here. Thanks for dropping in. Let's see what this dairy shake looks like. Oops. I'll lick that off the side. I'm going to give it a bit of a stir. See, it's very thick. And it tastes really good. That's a good dairy shake. So I'm happy with that. Tear notch goes across this way, but I'm not going to go for that. I'm actually going to cut my own, because I'm going to put the fruit right here. Let's see how this fruit held up. It definitely looks dark and soft. So that is what the fruit looks like. Looks like one little piece of cherry. Now this nut raisin mix might be a bit sketchy because of the age. but we'll find out. They put an oxygen absorber. So I'm going to put that right there. Put this oxygen absorber out of the way. This and that with Matt in the house. Thanks for dropping in. You're looking at a 2015 Ratatouille, and that is heating up in the kitchen. Now let's see how well these bent crackers fared. I don't think I got a hiss out of that. Plus I bumped the phone, so sorry about that. Oh yeah, these are going to bust because they got bent. Some of these cracker bits may end up in the ratatouille, I don't know. This peanut butter is 1.5 ounces compared to the 1 ounce of today's packets. Same size, but you can definitely feel that there's more of it in there. Since I got my little scissors open, I'm going to just go ahead and cut this. I'm going to put just a little dab. Right there, and I'll just leave the rest of that peanut butter over there. Now I'm going to go get my ratatouille out of the kitchen, and I'll be right back. I am back. This retort pouch looks in excellent condition. A lot of water in there. That's why I use this dome lid to carry it in here. Got a paper towel, start drying it off. No delamination. So this is obviously stored very well. I shake it so the food goes down below the tear notch before I go ahead and pull it. Very saucy. I thought it would be more red, but then again, I have never had ratatouille before. My crusher is here. Thanks for dropping in. There you go, 10-year-old ratatouille with some pasta. There's tomatoes. This is all vegetables. So this menu would have either been chosen by a vegetarian or someone who does not eat, for instance, pork. If they had to pick their menus, and a menu with pork was only available other than this one, they probably would have picked this one. Everything is very soft in here. Got mushroom. That pleases me a lot. I'm just looking at the chat to see what y'all are chatting about. It's something I don't know anything about. And what I looked up online about the ratatouille is it originated in France. I saw a recipe that originated in Nice, France. And there are recipes that originated in other parts of that country. It was one way of using up vegetables from the fall harvest that they were not able to preserve or just needed to use. But I actually like the flavor of that. This does have a TVP sausage meat substitute, and I had bitten into a couple of pieces of that. That would jack up the protein in it. Has zucchini, eggplant. I'm just reading through the ingredients. Got carrot, onions, celery, tomatoes. Has garlic and some onion. But it could use a little bit of crunch. But before I do that, I'm going to sample a tiny piece of the cracker. They definitely taste they taste fine, just not fresh tasting. I'm going to take the one that does not have the peanut butter. I'm going to crumble up some of this in there. These crackers break so easily, especially after they've been bent in a package. The cracker bits will absorb some of the flavors, but it'll give it some texture, which I think this could use. Yeah, decades ago they were toasted more. They probably spent a little bit more time in the baking line. But they give this a little bit of texture that this needs. But yeah, I'm still digging the flavor. So whoever Dave got this from must have stored it very well, and I know he stored it very well. I'm just happy with the flavor. Hot sauce? I don't think so. I'm not going to use it. I think that hot sauce would detract from the flavor of this. Yeah, when this was in circulation, I think it's awesome that the ration packers had vegetarian menus for those that need that for whatever reason. Put a big old glob of it on a piece of cracker. Gonna take a sip of this coffee. Yep, nothing wrong with that creamer. And Genio's not the best ration coffee out there, but it's definitely not the worst, so I'm happy with that. This is peanut butter right here. I only put a little of it on the cracker. Nothing wrong with that peanut butter whatsoever. Now that shake is very foamy, but it tastes good. Yeah, that peanut butter is perfectly fine. And having 1.5 ounces of it, yeah, they need to go back to that. I'm going to try. Actually, I'm going to take another drink of my coffee first, and then I'm going to try raisin. Try raisin by itself. They held up fine. Got hazelnuts, almonds, peanuts. And bits of walnut. I'm going to try a piece of a peanut first, see how that held up. That almost tastes like almond skin. Or it almost tastes like walnut. There's another piece of walnut. They sitting around together. These nuts are almost tasting alike. Not too many almonds in here, but these are not roasted, not salted. The almond does taste like an almond. So I'm happy about that. That does taste like a hazelnut. But for some reason, the peanuts have taken on the flavor of the walnuts. But the fact that they're not rancid, I'm happy about that. I just wish they were cashews. Now that would make me a happy camper because that's my favorite nut. I had to go back for another bite of this Ratatouille. On a chilly day, this probably would be a good belly warmer. I'm curious if this menu only was supposed to have the strawberry shake or if it was supposed to have something else in it as far as a drink goes. But I do like the flavor. Those things are just hard to mix up. I'm going to do this again just for the heck of it. Oh, yum. I bet adding those toasted nuts really jacked up the flavor of whatever they were put on. Yeah, green beans almondine is one dish that I can think of where almonds would be paired with a vegetable. I have had that before. A couple of different ways by different people, and they're both really good. These crackers and the peanut butter does provoke thirst. But taking a drink of that dairy shaker, most likely just getting the foam, that works. I think I might have eaten the only almond that was in there. Oh, nope, there's one. I really wish they would put cashews in here. If they're roasted and lightly salted, I think those nuts would have been perfect. I can definitely scratch one ration off my bucket list. Thanks to Dave who sent this to me. These older menus that are still in very good condition are probably getting harder to find. But I would definitely recommend this one just for the ratatouille alone. That fruit cocktail has almost lost its, the flavors are just not there. The fruit is very soft, but still edible. It's quite dark, as you can tell. It just does not have that real fruity flavor and firmness that you would get from a fresher fruit cocktail. But I'm still going to finish that off. But I think this is the first time I've had a nut raisin mix with hazelnuts in it. Kind of makes me wonder if certain nuts were just harder to find in 2015 when this packet was filled, so they had to go to others. This peanut butter is perfect. Stuck to my fingers and I almost lost a cracker. That shake, taking a drink of that after eating that peanut butter, that's a good combo. At least to me it is. I wish Dave was in here so he could see me enjoying this one, but I'm sure he'll catch the replay later. But I'm definitely thankful he sent this to me because this is awesome. Oh, cool. Oh, well, he's had some. He recently moved into a new place, so he's probably still getting settled into that. He's put up a few videos. He did one of those snack boxes, and I think he opened a package from a sender. And his more recent video, I think he said he would like to try to get LJ on again. Uh, it could have gone into a spam folder. Who knows? I'm shaking my shake to try to mix it up a little bit. Mother Earth Garden Club in the house. Thanks for dropping in. There's not much left of my Ratatouille. 10 years old. But despite everything being soft, I really enjoyed the flavors. I crumbled up some cracker pieces in there to give it a little texture. But I'm very happy with the flavors of that Ratatouille, having never had this dish before. But this nut raisin mix is perfectly fine. I just find it odd that the peanuts, some of the peanuts would take on some of the flavor of the walnuts. But they're not stale, so I'm happy with that. It would have been nice if they were roasted and salted, but they're still good. because this is a vegetarian menu, they had to do something to jack up the protein. So the peanut butter, the nuts, and the TVP and the Ratatouille, a little protein in the shake since it's a dairy shake made with milk powder. That will give you a halfway decent amount of protein. Waffles in the house. Well, not only that, but when I was at the powwow, at night the bugs were just relentless. Friday night the mosquitoes were, no, Friday night it was the gnats and the flies. And then Saturday night the mosquitoes were just terrible. But they forecasted rain. There was rain during the setup, but during the event itself, there was none. I had packed a couple of towels just in case the dance platform would needed to be dried off, but there was dew on the ground, but on that platform, Saturday morning it was perfectly dried, and Sunday morning, same thing. No rain. Didn't have to string up some extra tarps. In fact, we could leave the craft supplies underneath the tables instead of bringing them into the teepee that my crafting partner and I slept in. There was some other stuff belonging to the owner of that teepee that was in there, so that really didn't leave us a whole lot of room. But all the videos that I took are in a playlist. There were a few performances that I was not able to film because I was either too busy with the kids' crafts or I had to go to the bathroom and I missed it. But I probably got 90% of them. And the longest one being the Pearl story. I'm surprised I didn't blow up my phone trying to film that one, but I got it all. So I spent Monday going through all the videos and posting them up on YouTube, and I had posted the shorter ones on the powwow committee chat on a messenger, so that along with the pictures that I took, so that they could be taken from there and transferred to a website. And of course I gave them permission to use whatever I posted for publicity purposes. But there's some craziness with the Vietnamese lion dance, because the lion dancers were actually going out of the performance area and around the audience, and just, you know, the person working the head of the line was messing with people. So it got a little crazy looking in that one, but you could tell that they were having way too much fun doing that. Yeah, I think the rain that we had the week before last weekend, so there's a fair amount of it, but that's probably what got the bugs all riled up. Plus it wasn't too warm, so that's a good thing. Nobody got overheated. We had that problem last year. So I had taken my Opus power station and solar panel with me, in case someone needed to plug a fan in, but no one brought a fan. So I ended up not using it, but I had it just in case it was needed. Now, one thing I did have to do was I have these lights with magnets on them made by Olight called the swivel, and the base kind of turns around so you could angle it. Plus it has a hook on it that you could hook it on a line or something like that, or hang it on a tree branch. But the volunteer kitchen was being used, and there were no lights strung up in the canopies. I got a backup plan for that, so I went and got my swivel, which I used inside the teepee. That gave both of us light for changing clothes, getting ready for bed and all that. So I grabbed that. I went and planted it on one of the refrigerator doors. And then that gave plenty of light for what they needed to do. And then I just left it there, and then my crafting partner was helping out with the kitchen anyway, so when they were done and she was wanting to get ready for bed, she just brought it back. So we're going to have a meeting next week, and I'm probably going to recommend some LED string lights, either ones that can be plugged into a power bank or a power station, or plugged into their power strip. But I would go with ones that have a USB, so you don't have to take up an extra outlet. Plus, 2 of our fridges died. The compressors died, so we made it work somehow. The lights worked, but the compressors kicked over. But a new one, well, I used one that was donated by the sister of one of our committee members. That one was the only one that worked. So, we had some issues, but we got through it. The fruit has completely softened. It's breaking down. It's getting dark. Even that bit of cherry just does not have the vibrant red that fresh maraschino cherry would have. But it's still perfectly edible. Yep, packed in 2015, but stored very well. So I'm very impressed with that. Oh, there's electricity out there. Plus, some of the vendors had generators. There are some RV hookups at this particular large group campground that we use. But I don't know how many outlets are there at each location. So by having the LED string lights, they don't use up a whole lot of electricity. And if you have the USB ones, you can plug them into a wall wart and then plug that into a regular outlet. But because I had that Olight swivel light with a magnet, plant that on the fridge, that got the kitchen crew out of a jam when they were trying to clean up, put things away, organize stuff, because the compressors on two of the fridges died. They had to reorganize the food. So the sodas and water and other things that really didn't need to be kept cold could be put in those other fridges. Or as the other stuff like, the more delicate perishable foods went into the fridge that was still working. But for next year, we will definitely work on the fridge issue. And then we had an issue with the handprint TP that we had used previously in the storage locker. That's basically a shipping container. A squirrel got in there and just messed that one up bad. So that one did not get brought out. It's going to have to get repaired. So someone brought a flag decorated one with stars and stripes. So that's the one that my crafting partner, who's also my driver, we slept in that one. Yeah, like I said, several people had generators, but they run very long cords in order to keep the noise down. Plus, you don't want the fumes from the generators getting near where people would be. So that's why I took my Opus power station and I said to others, I have it here if you need it for something. It'll give you 600 continuous watts, but it was not needed, but I still wanted to have it anyway. Yeah, there was some ice. But see, Friday during setup, the fridges were working, but it was sometimes early Saturday morning that they had kicked over, that the compressors kicked over. But because we had that third one, That definitely helped. But because we are a 501c3 now, any people who donate to us, their donations are tax deductible, and we can apply for two different kinds of grants: capital grants for physical things like teepees and teepee poles, fridges, uh, chairs, yeah, anything like that, or a new sound system, or what's called an operational grant, meaning pay for like supplies and services, paying performers, yeah, paying for the use of the park, which we get a cut rate on. Yeah, paying for the web host. Our website is on GoDaddy. Paying for any advertising or anything like that. None of the committee members are paid. We're all volunteer. But that is something that we can do, and we've started doing that last year. But the fridge issue is definitely going to be discussed at our meeting next week. So we're going to go ahead and start planning next year's powwow. It's just like the state fair. As soon as the fair is done, they immediately start working on stuff for next year, and that's what we're going to do. We also had a near tragedy with one of the guys who plays the big drums that several guys will sit around and play during powwows. One of the guys in this group was driving a van that had the drum, and a couple other people plus gear, and some other drivers smacked him right on the driver's side, busted the driver, up pretty good, but he has been transferred to a rehab facility in Ames, Iowa. So he's out of a hospital but in a rehab facility, which is attached to the Mary Greeley Hospital in Ames. That's where Iowa State University is, for those who may be familiar with that. But nobody was killed. I don't know about the driver of that other car that smacked the van. But None of their gear or that drum were damaged. In fact, it was recovered. And another group stepped in last minute, said, "We'll come out." And then when that drum that was in that van that got smacked, that was brought out, another guy stepped in to take the place of the guy who got pretty banged up. So then both groups were doing it, which made it a little extra special. Thanks for dropping in, Waffles. Hope to see you another time. And then late Saturday night, the wife of the powwow founder, she had a medical episode and had to go to the emergency room. So she spent the night in the hospital. And then he did not come back on Sunday. He just stayed. He picked her up from the hospital, took her home, and then just spent the rest of the day just looking after her. But we'll probably get an update next week on how she's doing. But the whole story behind the powwow is on the White Eagle Powwow website as well as a Facebook page. Why it was started. You know, their son, who was a linesman for a power company, he works on power poles. There was a hawk that somehow got its feet tangled up at the top of one of these poles, and because he was out there working on a nearby one, he climbed the pole that the hawk was on top of, and he was going to try to free it, but unfortunately it spooked, and it spread its wings, and because the wires are bare there, right near where they connect to the top of the pole, they both got fried instantly. And at the funeral, the hawk was buried with this couple's son. And in his young life, he wanted to use his life to, show people that Indigenous Americans are no different than anybody else. That there's no need to hate them or commit any kind of crimes against them like what has happened in the past. Where they literally had graffiti painted on their house. They had stuff thrown at them. Just because they do not happen to be white. And so his parents decided that they were going to start this multicultural powwow in order to bring people of different cultures and backgrounds together. And so this year was the 26th one. It would have been the 27th, but there was no powwow in 2020 because of Big Nasty. But yeah, it's been 27 years since this young man tried to save a hawk, but They both got fried. But his story got around about what he tried to do in his short life. And so his parents think, he achieved what he wanted to do without being present because of his story and how he tried to live his life. And so that's what the multicultural powwow is all about. I am not indigenous at all, although years ago when I was a kid there used to be rumors about my late dad's side of the family possibly having a little bit of, I kept hearing Paiute, but I don't know if that was correct or not, but we never tried to substantiate that. So it was just an old story that was told in my late dad's side of the family. He had more of a mix in his ancestry than my mom did, because my mom is all Polish. But I got hooked into it, the powwow, several years ago when it was held at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. So it was easy for me to hop in a bus. I just went there to check it out because I had never been to a powwow before, and before then I didn't think that non-Indigenous people were even allowed to attend such events. But I went and I met up with my crafting partner. I just wandered over to the kids crafts area and I just wanted to check out, see what they were doing. I thought it was pretty cool. Looked like the kids are having fun. And she asked me if I wouldn't mind hanging out there while she went and got a meal. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll hang. And when she came back, I never left until it was time to quit for the day. That was a Saturday. And I said, I'm going to come back and help you tomorrow. So I did. I just sucked the rest of the peanut butter out of that packet. So then I said, yeah, I'm going to just keep helping you guys out with the kids' crafts. So that's what I got hooked into. Then it moved to Jester Park, where it once used to be, but in a different location. And now it's at the large group campground. So it means I have to get a ride out there, but I haven't had any issues with that so far. Now, the first couple of years I was going out there, I had a tent, but it'll be 3 years ago now. I was packing up the tent and I zipped the screen door closed, and the zipper pull literally came off right in my hands. Oh crap. I'm not going to be able to use this tent again because I won't be able to open it unless I cut the screen, and I'm not doing that. So I ditched that tent, but I kept the poles. So then the next year, I was offered use of one of the teepees. So I bought a cot and a new air mattress because when I used to have had failed years ago, it had sprung leaks. So I had gotten rid of that thing. So my video of my setup in the teepee where I show where my cot is with my air mattress and a lightweight sleeping bag on it and my inflatable pillow. Yeah, getting down on the ground and getting up again is a lot more difficult. So I got that cot. Plus I could put stuff underneath it. Whereas before with the tent, I couldn't put a cot in there. And with the stuff that I had, that so-called 3-person tent really didn't leave me a whole lot of room. Plus I was storing some of the craft supplies in it. But being able to use one of the teepees is so much easier. Yeah. My late dad does have some Irish. He had some Irish in his background. So his Irish ancestors would have experienced that as well. I'm just finishing off what's left of the fruit. But my dad also had some German, Dutch, he called it Pennsylvania Dutch, but I'm not sure what else would be there. Never done any genealogy on my dad's side of the family. We don't have all the information like what we have for my mom's side, because we had compiled all of that history stuff back in 82 for the 83 Yajinka reunion. I just finished off that shake. So I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about my late dad's side of the family. I do know that some of them have served in the military. One is currently in the Air Force. Second cousin. Another cousin was in the Air Force back in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, and she was a fighter jet mechanic at the Eglin Air Base in Florida. And then there's another relative, I don't know a whole lot about him, but he was in the Army. And my step grandpa, my mom's mom, married a second time after her first husband. My real grandfather died, so she married again, and the guy she married was in the Army during World War II, and then in the Vietnam he was in the Air Force. But where the military ties into the powwow is a lot of indigenous people have served in the U.S. military. The most famous ones would be the Navajo Code Talkers. And they just spoke in the Navajo language to pass information over radios, and the enemy could not figure that out. They could not make heads or tails out of the Navajo language. And so that helped the Allies out big time. And so in the part of the powwow known as the Grand Entry, the flag bearers are either veterans. Veterans are invited to carry the flags, or people who want to carry a flag in honor of a veteran. And so the four branches of the military, the main ones, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, there's a U.S. flag, there is a Native American flag, there's a POW MIA flag, and I think there's an Iowa flag in there as well. So there are people who will carry those flags. I have not seen a Coast Guard flag included, but that may happen in the future, I don't know. But veterans are honored during that part of the Grand Entry, and they walk in behind the head dancer. So I think that's pretty darn cool that they do that, and there are people who are not indigenous who will step up to carry those flags in the Grand Entry. And this year, there's a guy who uses a scooter or a power wheelchair, and he carried a flag in one hand, and he drove his power chair around the circle. He carried it in honor of a relative who was in the military. So I know a few people here who have also served in the military. One, she is part Cherokee, but she is a flute instructor at Drake University, and she has played with the Des Moines Symphony and other smaller groups. She was in the Army band, So that's what she did when she was in the Army. She played in the Army band, or one of them. And another veteran, she did logistics and managing supply movements in various places in and outside of the U.S. So that's what she did for the Army. And here in Des Moines, I don't know how it is in other cities with public transit. If a veteran shows his or her military ID card, they get a free ride. No questions asked. You show that card, you don't have to pay a fare. So I hope that will continue despite our city's transit funding issues that I am personally involved in because I am on the Transit Rider Advisory Committee, but I will drop off after the end of this year, so the December meeting will be my last as an official member. But I'll probably attend the first one next year, and in what's called the public comment period, I'll probably go up to the mic and welcome the new members, my replacements. But like I said, I hope that the free rides for veterans will continue. I'm sure that will be part of the discussions by the commission and maybe by the advisory committee as well. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. I'm probably going to throw a little water in here, just kind of get some more of that some of that shake residue out of there. There's still some, but it'll wash. I still have all my powwow pictures. I will probably just throw them all up on Facebook into one huge block of them. Because right now I've only posted them privately so that whoever handles the website and other social media stuff, the page, Facebook page admins can take those. I just wanted to get those up so they can go ahead and post them wherever they want. And plus, we are collecting all of these pictures and they will become part of a digital archive. We used to have physical pictures and photo albums, but I think those are all going to be scanned. And then maybe in future years, either a tablet or a laptop with the photos just kind of scrolling on, advancing in a slideshow. That might be a little bit more interactive. But yeah, I think I'll probably just do that. I'll just post all of them up that I have on Facebook. And even though I put videos up, I may do a community post with some of them as well. Along with the videos that I put in that powwow playlist. I shot more than I had done in the past because I got enough snippets of free time where I could catch, like I said earlier, 90% of the performances. Others caught the few that I missed, but I have watched them. So if you haven't checked out that powwow playlist, go ahead and check it out. Hopefully I did a good job of capturing them. Because of my limited phone memory capacity, for those groups that did more than one dance or demonstration, I only filmed one. Like the Kung Fu group, there was a woman who did a solo weapons form demonstration, and so that's what I filmed and put that up. Along, of course, then the dragon dance. That's something they had not done before, was the Chinese dragon, but they did that, so I did film that one. But the other ones that they did, I did not record. I did not record all of the ones that the taiko drummers did, just one. But that's the way I did that, because obviously I was mainly there to do the kids' craft, so I just took what bits of downtime when there were not so many kids, or there were others helping the little kids do the crafts. I just went ahead and recorded what I could. So I just hope everybody enjoys them and gets to see what I did last weekend. But I will continue to do that as long as I'm able to, because I think it's just too dang much fun helping kids take things like wood cookies and paints and beads and strings and other things and make something out of them. It just gets their creative juices flowing, and they have something that they could take them and have a memory of their experience. But I'm glad the weather was nice, just the bugs were not. But when you're sleeping outside, that's what you deal with. I will take those bug bites as long as I'm still able to have a good time. I guess I'm hooked on it. Of course, the weekend before last, we had an International Food Day at the mosque, and I made blueberry compote. And what was left that did not serve there, I froze it in Ziploc bags. And then I took that to the powwow, and then over time that partially thawed out. And so Sunday, as everybody was starting to pack up, you know, break things down, what could be poured into pitchers was poured into pitchers, and people could drink it. And then what was not served, I brought some home, and then a couple others took some of it. And so I emptied when I got home. It was thawed enough where I could transfer it out of the bags into a container that I've been keeping in my fridge. So I will actually finish that off tomorrow. But I followed a Polish recipe that I found online. I put whole cloves in it. I probably put about a third a cup of sugar in that whole huge pot. The pot was as wide as this tray is long, but as tall as probably up to here off the table, maybe bottle height. And that was almost full, and there was no stick cinnamon, but there was some powdered cinnamon, so I put one shake in, not a whole lot, and I didn't put a whole lot of cloves in, just a small container. That's probably equal to maybe a quarter cup of the whole cloves for that big pot, because I didn't want to overwhelm it, just enough to know that it was there. And I didn't want it too sweet, but just a little bit. I started out with dried blueberries in water, and then I put the cloves and the cinnamon in, and most of the sugar that I used, I added some later. Then after a while, I did this the Friday before last, after the Friday prayer. That's when I made it, because I wanted to get it done, let it cool down enough where I could put it in the fridge to chill, because I wanted to serve it cold the next day. So then later I added the 4 bags of the frozen blueberries that I had showed in my shopping haul for September. And I bought those cloves at the same time. So then I added those frozen blueberries, and then I had a few strawberries that someone had given me. I chopped those. I cleaned them, took the tops off, threw them in the compost, and then I cut those strawberries up and froze them. And then I added those to the compote when I added the frozen blueberries, and then a little bit more sugar, and then I simmered that for probably another hour. I think total almost 2 hours of stove time. I didn't want it to boil, but just to simmer. And then It was served the next day with the berries and the cloves in it. And so when it was served at the powwow, I told him, yeah, I left the berries and the cloves in it, so if you get a berry in it, you know, it's part of it. So those that took it liked it. And like I said, some took some of it home and then I got the rest. And I have enough left in the container. I'll get one more bowl of it. And then it'll be gone. I had another contribution to the food, but nobody got into it. In fact, I told them, yeah, I had someone pick up a box full of canned fruit from me, but no one got into it. And well, they forgot to give it back to me when my driver and I were packing up her rental car to bring me back home. I guess there was some confusion. You got no, I got my compote, but not the box that was actually labeled. I wrote canned fruit on the box. So hopefully I will get those back because I may want to eat those this winter. But it is what it is. But I took the wagon. The other wagon got used that I had donated last year and ended up staying on the organizing committee. So having both of the wagons definitely made it easier to move stuff around. Of course, the one that I kept for myself has an S all over it. Amazon screwed up and ended up sending me two. But they said I could keep them both, and well, I think I'll donate one. Having those definitely helps when it comes to moving stuff around, especially on the uneven ground that's over there. Oh, that is going to be it for September streams. I was just looking to see if anybody else is saying anything in the chat, but it doesn't look like it. When Dave sent me this Ratatouille, he had sent me another MRE. I may save that one, get into that one a few weeks later, but I got more MREs to go through. I got that MRE Star 24-hour ration. I might do that one next week and the week after. Have to see what's in that. Someone did review one of those all that long ago, I think in August, but it had some different entrees than mine has, so a different menu. I picked mine up off of MRE Mountain. I don't know where the other guy got his. Might have been the same place, but I may get into that one starting next week. Because I'm definitely curious about it. So I think for now I'm going to go ahead and call this one good. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I wish Dave could have been here to see me rip into this 10-year-old Ratatouille. If you're looking for a vegetarian one, and if you find one of these in good condition, like this one was, go for it. I would certainly eat that one again. Even though I like to have my meat, I thought that flavor was really good. So anyway, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.